Alright folks, this is Xeric and the new Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct dropped, and oh my god, there's so much to talk about. But before we get started, I will be covering Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a lot. I have so much to talk about this single video they released. There's so much to talk about. Oh, and just because there's so much exciting stuff. I streamed my reaction to this on my other channel, and we watched it for like 2 hours. It was crazy. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. The thing that excited me the most was the combat. Over and over and over again, they showed that the combat is going to be completely overhauled. It looks so similar to Xenoblade 2, but trust me, this combat is going to be a lot more reactive and organic the way the combat flows. It isn't going to simply be yeah, there won't be so much of that. Let me show you the evidence of it. All right, so let's start here. The very first thing, I instantly paused this when I was streaming this and started talking about it. This right here, right away, the very first thing they showed immediately showed that the combat is already going to be a bit better. At least it hinted at it. So you see this system here? Boo, boring, just like the Xenoblade 2 system. Now, the Xenoblade 2 system, it does grow on you, much like a fungus, but you do tend to like it by the end of the game. But a lot of people quit playing the game because the combat feels so slow. They don't ever learn about animation canceling. They never get to the point in the game where they unlock most of the mechanics. They never understand most of the mechanics because the game's tutorial is bad, and no one can deny that. No one can deny that. And the combat system is extremely complicated. But trust me when I say the first few seconds of this show that the combat is going to be so different. Watch this. Ah, my air conditioning just kicked on. I'm too excited to go and turn it off or to wait for it to turn off. Either way, I want to talk about this. Hold on. Okay, let's show you. Let me show you something. This was the first clue. Right there. He dodged. The implications of that dodge, oh my. Okay, the other Xenoblade games, there was no dodging because it didn't matter. There was positioning. You could position throughout the monster, and most people in my stream were thinking it was because he pressed this button and it was a reaction to being able to press this button. I shall prove that that is not what it is later on in the video. This means so much. Anyone who played the first two Xenoblade games knows that the monsters, if they start the animations of an attack and you're not so far away that you completely disengage, they will hit you. I shall record an example of how insane the range of some of these weapons, of some of these attacks are, and how they don't care about your positioning and they don't care about where you are. Take a look at this. Oh, also, there are more things than just this dodge. Just you wait. There's more things than just this dodge. But let me show you something real fast. So the targeting system in this pretty much holds true no matter what game you're playing. So now that he's targeting me, notice that he has perfect tracking. He turns really fast. He has perfect tracking, which is something I like to is a term I came up with, which just simply means that if the enemy's attacking you, look how far I am, he's hitting me. I'll show you a much more extreme example of this. Not the perfect tracking, but no matter how far you go, if the enemy initiates an attack, you're just going to get hit. You have to actually fully disengage from the combat. This is a movable Gonzalez. And he shall demonstrate that their range knows no bounds. All right, immovable Gonzalez. So, the thing is that in the Xenoblade trailer, you have the ability to dodge. That changes the game. That has so many implications regarding the guy. Oh, there we go. Look at this. Underground, probably a couple 100 feet away, and he still got me. Gonzalez don't care. All right. So this dodge right here adds so much to the combat. But wait, there's more! There is more than this dodge right here.
Then harness powerful abilities called arts.
Saw that? Did you see that? Right there? There was the dodge roll. And there was just a general dash for repositioning.
To attack automatically. Then harness powerful abilities called arts.
Notice that he walked and then he dodged. Watch it again. He walks and then he dodges. It's not initiated by an attack. Walks, dodges. Now, that is not the only spot where this happens. All throughout this video, he'll do things like this, where he walks like he just did, and then he initiates the dodge. So let's talk about this. Cancel attack. We've had things like that in the other Xenoblade games. You can interrupt. So we can interrupt, I believe. We can interrupt things. That's fine. But you had to have something like that before, because you couldn't dodge and you couldn't do anything to prevent yourself from being hit. But we do have dodges now. Look at this. Evade. Watch this. See that backflip? She just walks back, does a backflip. Notice that he initiates an attack, and then she activates the evade, and she's already in the middle of the animation. She activated this a while ago. The attack does not hit her, and it says evaded. So there's iframes in the game as well. Now, I don't know if there's iframes in the dodging system, because we didn't get to see that in the stream. The ability to evade and the ability to dodge. And that implies that you need to evade or dodge, and dodge sometimes. So the combat will be balanced around that. So it'll be a lot more like some more modern action RPGs, where it's not simply mash this button over and over and over and over and over and over and do the same spinning edge move over and over and over and over again. But wait, there's more still.
To battling, you can freely swap the character you control.
What? That was one of the things I hated most about the Xenoblade combat. Is it feels so restrictive. One of the reasons it feels so restrictive is because you pick your character. That's the character you're controlling during the entire combat. After the combat, you can switch it, but during the combat, the other people are NPCs that do whatever they want, except for very specific situations where you get to tell them to do a thing. It made the combat so much more simple and less. It's like, no, there's so much more. Being able to switch characters, to use different characters to create different situations, not have to worry about the AI not forgetting to do this or not doing that, and you're like, please wild down, for the love of God, wild down. No, you just boom, wild down, boom, boom. Everything's gonna be snappy, and then maybe the monster will try to interrupt and do a thing, and then you have to dodge out of the way. Ooh, I'm so excited. Next, take a look at these zones. There's zones. There's an evasion up zone created by one of these people, and there's another zone that's created by another group of people. So moving into these zones will give your character different effects. So maybe you'll want to stand in a zone that gives yourself attack up, and you're doing more damage. But then he initiates an attack, and you try to dodge into the evasion up, or you dodge, or you just move into it and just keep attacking. And hopefully you're like, no, I don't even want to try to dodge. I just want to move while auto attacking, and like hopefully I auto evade when he attacks, and I'm just going to keep doing DPS. So positioning is going to be a thing. There's more than just positioning on the character, but positioning on the battlefield, because you'll create buffs and possibly debuff zones where you want to keep the monster. As you can see, there will be overlap here too. We have two rings here that are overlapping on top of each other, and you're getting multiple buffs at the same time. But since they are implying that you will be able to evade and dodge attacks, having multiple buff rings in the same spot is dangerous unless you have a tank doing their job. Like I would say, attack up, evasion up, attack up, some other damage dealing things possibly all in one spot. Then you make sure your tank is positioned on the other side, and you guys are behind it with all the buffs and doing things, right? But if the tank loses aggro, you can dodge. And lastly, a little bit later in the video, they do mention something called Master Arts. So you can master a class and add those arts to your wheel down here, giving you a lot more diverse combinations with your skills, creating a really interesting, you'll be able to create really interesting combinations, most likely because of that. So as you can see, there is a lot more going on in the combat system than there used to be. And I am really looking forward to the death of oh man, I am very excited about that. And I could be wrong. You might not be able to dodge attacks through the dodge system. That dodge system might be for positioning in those rings to get to them quickly, or repositioning on the monster for really quick back attacks and side slashes and things of that sort. And the enemies might still have perfect tracking, which would be sad if that is the way it works. But the other systems that I showed, the other new systems that I showed, actually would still add more depth. Just the ability to switch characters in combat alone will add so much more complexity to the battle and make it feel much more interactive than the old ones, where it was simply controlling one character and switching blades, which wasn't that interesting. Frankly, I'm sorry, I don't find that to be as interesting, especially with the blade switching being restricted. Like, no, you can't switch yet, you have to wait. Oh my god, this is what frustrated so many people and had people play the game for 20 or 30 hours and still end up quitting it. Because really, honestly, you gotta get about a good 50, 60 hours in the Xenoblade before that fungus really sets in and you start to like it. The story and the interactions with the characters are so funny. The Zekinator, oh my gosh, everybody, there's so many great characters. There's so many great moments. And suffering through the first however many hours before I finally learned most of the mechanics of the combat system, it was worth it. It was worth it. But I think this game is going to be far more friendly to players who weren't willing to suffer through that because of the story, and eventually come to love the combat system, even though it still had its flaws, definitely. And I want that for them. I want everyone to be able to accept Xenoblade Chronicles into their heart. Alright, I have a lot more to talk about when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This video has given me so much to talk about, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all those other things that all those bigger channels talk about, and you will see more coverage of this game. I talk a lot more than just Xenoblade, but unless something very interesting comes up, Xenoblade is going to be the only thing I probably talk about for the next few weeks. This video, oh my god. All right, okay. Let's just stop the video. All right, everyone, this is Xeric, and I'm out.